This woman poisoned her husband with fentanyl, collected the life insurance, and then went on television to promote a children's grief book that she wrote about missing him. Now, her name is Kouri Richins, and Kouri lives in Park City, Utah, which, if you don't know it, is the fancy ski town. Mountain views, white houses, quiet money. Her husband Eric is a real estate developer who's doing pretty well. 3 young boys, $4 million in assets that he built from scratch. By all accounts, he's one of the good ones. His family adored him. His coworkers respected him. Now, here's the thing about Kouri. She runs a property flipping business, and from the outside, she looks like she is absolutely thriving. The wardrobe, the social media, the whole presentation. Everyone around her thinks she's killing it. But the truth is, her business is failing. And underneath all of that, Kouri is $4.5 million in debt. And not one person in her life knows. She's been performing financial success while quietly drowning for years. So now we get to the prenup, because the prenup is the whole story. Kouri and Eric signed it back in 2013, and the prenup said this: if Kouri left Eric, she walked away with almost nothing. But if Eric died while they were still married, she got everything. His business, his estate, the houses, all of it. So just to be clear, Kouri is $4.5 million in the hole, and the only way out is if her husband is dead. Now, Eric is not oblivious to all of this. Years before he dies, he goes to Greece on a family trip. And while he's there, he tells his sister he thinks Kouri tried to harm him on that trip. He doesn't know exactly what she did, he just knows something happened. So he goes home and he quietly removes Kouri from his will. He starts trying to take her off his life insurance policies. He tells people close to him that he's thinking about divorce. He's trying to get out of this marriage. He just doesn't get out fast enough. Because while Eric is over here trying to protect himself, Kouri is doing this. Between 2015 and 2017, she takes out 4 separate life insurance policies on Eric, without telling him. He doesn't know any of them exist. And on one of the applications, she writes down the wrong social security number for her husband, because she fills it out herself and doesn't even bother to check. Total coverage on those 4 policies is $2.2 million. Every single one of them payable to her. And on top of all this, Kouri's having an affair. The guy's name is Robert Josh Grossman. And years later, this guy actually takes the witness stand at her murder trial. And he cries. Like, actually cries, while their text messages get read out loud to the courtroom. He says she told him she was desperate to get out of her marriage, that she wanted a future with him, but she couldn't just leave Eric because of the prenup. The prenup meant she got nothing. So she comes up with a different plan. Now it's Valentine's Day 2022, and Kouri makes Eric a sandwich. She laces it with fentanyl that she got from her housekeeper, and Eric eats it. He blacks out, but then he comes around. Because Kouri didn't get the dose right. He survives it, and she tells him he's just exhausted. Don't worry about it. He has no idea what she put in that food. So 2 weeks later, Kouri goes back to the housekeeper, and she asks for more fentanyl. Stronger this time. She picks it up in person, and 6 days after that pickup, Eric Richins is dead. Because it's now March the 4th, Thursday night. And Kouri tells Eric that they should celebrate. Apparently, she just closed a deal on her property business. So she makes the drinks, a Moscow Mule cocktail for Eric. She mixes it herself, and she hands it to him across the table. And he drinks it. The amount of fentanyl in that glass was 5 times the lethal dose. Not twice, not 3 times, 5. And the prosecutor said it like this in his closing argument. He said she wanted Eric not only dead, but good and dead. So Eric dies in their home that night. And of course, Kouri calls 911. She's crying. She is selling the absolute hell out of this. And she tells the responding officers right there on camera that her husband had no history of drug use, that he had never touched anything illicit in his life. That body camera footage gets played to the jury 3 years later. And then the next morning, less than 24 hours after her husband is dead, Kouri signs paperwork to close on a $2 million property, a house that Eric had refused to let her buy. He thought the business was too unstable. They had been arguing about that purchase for weeks, and she bought it the morning after he died. Now Eric's family suspects her immediately. His sister Amy goes to investigators and tells them about the grease comment, about Eric's own fear of his wife. But the police need evidence. So while they're quietly building the case over months and months, Kouri is out here living. She collects the life insurance money. She keeps operating her real estate business. She looks, from every angle, like a grieving widow. And then Kouri does something completely insane. A year after Eric dies, she self-publishes a children's picture book, and she calls it, Are You With Me? And it's a book about helping kids cope with the loss of a parent. She dedicates it to her sons. She says writing it brought her peace, and then she goes on local Utah television to promote it. And she sits in front of a camera and she talks about grief, about love, about wanting to keep Eric's memory alive for the boys. And while she's doing all of that, investigators are pulling her digital records. And here's what they find. Before Eric died, Kouri searched the words lethal dose of fentanyl. She searched luxury prisons. She searched how killers get caught. And she looked up information about Eric's estate while he was still alive. So a few weeks after that television appearance, in May of 2023, Kouri Richins gets arrested. 5 charges: aggravated murder, attempted aggravated murder for the Valentine's Day attempt, forgery, and 2 counts of insurance fraud. She pleads not guilty to every single one. And her defense team argues that Eric was secretly addicted to painkillers, that he was sourcing fentanyl from Mexico himself, that Kouri is just a widow being unfairly blamed for her husband's hidden drug problem. But then investigators find a letter in Kouri's jail cell, 6 pages long, written to her brother, with actual instructions on what he should tell her former attorney. She wrote that Eric had confided in him about getting fentanyl from Mexico. She wrote that Eric, quote, gets high every night. The same Eric that Kouri herself told the police on camera the night he died had never touched drugs in his life. And her defense said the letter was just fiction, a creative writing project she was working on. So Kouri goes to trial. 3 weeks of testimony, 42 witnesses, and her own defense team rests without calling a single witness of their own. The jury deliberates for 3 hours. Guilty. All 5 counts. And Kouri bows her head as the judge reads it. She stares at the floor. She says nothing. Eric's sister Amy speaks outside the courthouse. She says it's been a long time coming, that she's glad Eric finally has justice. Kouri now faces 25 years to life on the murder conviction alone, and she's also got 26 additional felony charges in a separate trial: mortgage fraud, money laundering, issuing bad checks. Her sentencing is scheduled for May the 13th, Eric Richins' 44th birthday. Eric removed her from his will. He tried to leave the marriage. He sat across the table from his wife on a Thursday night, raised the glass that she had made him, and trusted her. And a year later, she sat on television and told the world how much she missed him.